I'm here today in Paducah, Kentucky, located in northwestern Kentucky at the confluence of the Tennessee, Ohio, and Cumberland rivers. This historic town may be known for its quilts, but today we're going to explore something a bit more spirited, if you know what I mean. The local buzz is all about these two young craft breweries, a booming winery, and the area's first moonshine distillery. Let's hop around and check them out ourselves. From the outside, it may appear to be an old Coca-Cola factory, but on the inside, they serve something a little more potent than a soft drink. Let's hop on into Dry Ground Brewery and have a taste.
We're ambitious, stubborn, and maybe even a little reckless. We have double IPAs, we have single IPAs, a Belgian rye IPA, double English IPA, we have an ESB, we have a porter, we have a stout, we have two saisons. I mean, we really kind of blew it out.
That's Andy Wiggins, beer making extraordinaire for Dry Ground Brewery, which there's a unique story behind the name itself.
In 1937, there was a very severe flood in Paducah, Kentucky, and the water came up to 28th Street here, so just right out our back door. Luther F. Carson had his bottling plant at that point on 3rd Street in downtown Paducah, Kentucky, where the water was extremely high. So he was evacuated out of a second-story window and was on a flotation device, and on his way down to where there was no flooded area down here, he said, when I reach dry ground, that's where I'll establish my new bottling plant. Well, this is that point, so we named our brewery Dry Ground.
For years, Carson's Coca-Cola plant has sat empty until a local couple came along with a vision for the 76-year-old building.
And so they decided they wanted to revive the building, and when they were really going through what projects were most important and vital to the success of the building, the first thing they wanted to build out in this space was a brewery. And so Dry Ground Brewing Company is that brewery.
And a brewery seemed to be the one thing Paducah was lacking in its downtown atmosphere.
A really interesting thing is to be the first craft brewery in any area, and we are the first craft brewery in Paducah. To have such little competition and to really have the opportunity to explore a market that's not saturated is a sort of a rare thing in this industry right now.
And the folks at Dry Ground have been exploring the diverse styles to brew in order to put Paducah, Kentucky on the map for beer enthusiasts around the U.S.
There's over 4,000 craft breweries in this country right now, and it's an industry that's growing by 24% annually. A lot of craft breweries, when they open up, they'll get 3 or 4 or 5 beers going. If you can name a style, we pretty much have it on tap right now that we've brewed, which is a little strange for a brewery of our age and size.
Being the first brewery in the area, they didn't know what to expect. But the projections they did make were quickly crushed by the overwhelmingly positive response.
We just did better than we ever imagined. The most wonderful thing that I've seen out of the response is how it helps me to feel connected to my community, to know that the things that I love, they love.
So what's the local buzz?
37 Floods, probably my favorite one. Adam's Beard is really good. I like Uncle Luther.
Well, it's my first time in. It's very good.
They have really good beer. I have a lot of friends that work here. It's a good place to hang out.
I heard it's something a little different. It offers atmosphere that surrounds and focuses more on beer and the different types of beer and the brewing process rather than being more commercialized.
And I've met a lot more plumbers and blue collar, camouflage wearing cats that are drinking really complex, amazing beer and understanding it than I ever would have imagined possible. And I think it's surprised them, and it's surprised us, and it's surprised the community. And when you have any kind of artisanal craft product in a community, you elevate that community's sense of what they're capable of trying. You make them a little more brave. And being a part of that, I think has been really awesome, because we really have seen that in real time.
I don't know about you guys, but I've barely got a buzz. But stay tuned, because coming up next, we'll take a trip to Paducah's first winery. Next on the Local Buzz. At Purple Toad Winery, these Kentucky grapes are transformed into award-winning wine with the help of Alan Dossie and his wife June. Let's sip some wine and chat with the man behind the vine.
We took a trip to Napa Valley 16 years ago, just loved it. I grew up on a farm, my dad's an electrician, so we did things like that. So I decided that we were going to plant some grapes.
Those few grapes turned into a few vines, and the Dossie family decided to do some research before opening the winery a year and a half later.
We thought we'd open on Wednesday, be a slow day, July 1st. We get used to the cash register, open the bottles. We'd have a few people. We thought they were lined up to the parking lot to get in when we opened. So we started out really well. We didn't really have a learning period other than under fire.
Word on the street grew fast, and it seemed everyone wanted their very own bottle of Purple Toad wine.
We started out just selling in the winery. First 2.5 years, that's all we did. Really, we couldn't make it quick enough. We had a lot of wholesalers asking for it, but we just didn't make enough. And then after 2.5 years, we started out just locally, originally in Paducah and surrounding stores. We're one of the few wineries that sell out of state. As of today, we're in 233 stores in Kentucky, about 75 to 80 in Illinois, 75, 80 in Indiana, and another 60 or 70 in Tennessee. So we're growing quickly. As of this year, we're the largest winery in Kentucky.
All those bottles would not be distributed so quickly if it weren't for this fancy machine that Alan says was worth every penny.
It does 130 cases an hour. It costs $100,000. Nice little toy, but you gotta have it. Yeah, you couldn't survive it. We did the first 75,000 by hand corker. That, you hand labeled everything, and it was really slow, but this thing runs pretty nice.
Although this is the first winery in Paducah, there's one major advantage for the Western Kentucky region.
We have a little better climate than they do in Lexington, Louisville area. We're about 3 to 5 degrees warmer. This year, most of them lost like 40% to 80% of their crops due to the freeze. It got around minus 14, minus 18. We did not lose a plant.
Purple Toad has something for every wine drinker, whether it's sweet or dry, for the beginner or the advanced.
We grow Cabernet Sauvignon, Chardonnay, Riesling, Pinot Noir, Merlot, and Cabernet Franc. We make dry wines, but we make a lot of sweet wines, and our specialty is the sweet wines.
But they really know how to cater to Kentucky's personal taste.
Kentucky and this part of the country is mostly starter wine drinkers, and they're more likely to drink a Zinfandel, a Barefoot, things of that nature. And that's really the market that we've exploited to this time.
Alan says it takes around 6 months to a year to make a batch of wine. When you harvest your fruit, you're a minimum 6 months out. And something like a Cabernet takes a year before it's ready for market.
You don't see me on the deck drinking wine very often. I'm usually in the back. We do almost everything in ourselves. My son's at college right now at Western, and then he's going to come back and help us run it.
A family business that has a bright future ahead.
We would actually like to grow to be very large. We intend to go to Georgia probably next, maybe Alabama, Mississippi, and then Louisiana. It's probably our next 3 to 4 states we're looking at going to.
Let's check in to find out what's the local buzz for Purple Toad Winery.
love it because they have the sweet wines that I like. I absolutely love it.
Me and all my coworkers come here almost every Friday afternoon.
This is the Black Peach, which is my favorite of the ones I tasted today.
I like the Merlot and the Paducah Harbor.
I'm drinking Paducah Harbor. It's a dessert wine, and it's by far my favorite. I get it every single time.
We've trademarked it, but we make gourmet sweet wines. So that's what we do. That's our specialty.
When we come back, we'll check out a 100-year-old building in downtown Paducah that's helping one local family continue their tradition of distilling moonshine. Stay tuned. This buzz crawl needs to be turned up a few notches, and I know the place that will do just the trick. It's time to enjoy some Kentucky moonshine, distilled right here in the heart of downtown Paducah. Follow me.
It was not polite to say anything about whiskey and the generation that I grew up in because too many people are already in the pen.
It's potent, it's dangerous. It's moonshine whiskey. There's so much fascination in the history of it, but for Denise Story, this tale hits a little closer to home.
Back in the 1920s during Prohibition, Golden Pond, just outside of Land Between the Lakes, was very prominent of selling moonshine whiskey. My family is from Land Between the Lakes, and that was a big moonshining community up there. That's the way they did make their money.
You never knew who would stop by for a bottle of shine.
Al Capone and Joseph Kennedy actually came down here and bought their whiskey to take it back up north. They evidently liked it. They kept coming back. It went on for quite a while. At one time, so many people were making it up there and they knew they had large orders. They had 1,800 barrels of whiskey made up to sell. So it kind of was in the family all along.
What her ancestors were once doing illegally, she's now doing legally. And Denise wanted to bring moonshine back to Western Kentucky, as authentic as possible.
All of the distilleries that I had visited only showed you the most modern, and they were making several thousand gallons a week, and we do something a little different. We had the building here, and it was just kind of sitting here. It's 108 years old, so we decided this would be a good place for a distillery. This is a very small operation here. We don't make near that much. It's called a small craft operation. Of course, not everybody's interested in whiskey, but let's turn it into a museum to make it look more authentic. And a lot of people never saw us still sit up in the woods.
How does Paducah Distilled Spirits create their liquor?
Well, you can take grain or vegetables, anything that will ferment to make a liquor out of it. One recipe is corn barley. The other recipe is white corn and rye. We do make the whiskey here. We get corn from local farmers. We make the mash here, and we do make it right here in the building and bottle it and sell it.
But of course, the high proof can scare off beginner drinkers. But they've got something to fit your taste buds.
We've taken one of our basic recipes and added flavorings to it. There's about 9 different flavors that we do. We've added it to the corn liquor. To make it more palatable. A lot of people are not interested in just the harsh taste of the black corn whiskey like that. So we have lemonade, strawberry lemonade, apple, peach, black cherry, blackberry, and pineapple.
And creating a quality liquor for Paducah is of utmost importance.
Seems like the larger anyone grows in any industry that you lose the quality of the taste. We would like to stay small and just try to perfect that taste and make something enjoyable.
So what's the local buzz?
It's pretty unique, you know.
We've had a lot of people just curious because they've never been in any place quite like it.
I know that NASCAR originated from running shine back in, I guess, the 30s and 40s.
It was very popular during Prohibition because people would just kind of go off in the woods and make it.
It's really good. I like it a lot.
I like just like the standard moonshine, the Uncle Mosey's moonshine, just the regular one.
I had the loaded lemonade moonshine. It's really good. I'd recommend it to anyone.
Stay tuned because when we come back, we'll head just down the street to another craft brewery who's making a name for themselves in this river town. Next on the Local Buzz. If moonshine is too intimidating for you, just a few steps down the street, you can stumble upon this old Greyhound bus station, where folks still like to gather to have some food and some good old beer as well.
Paducah offers a lot of great things, and Kentucky does wonderful things with bourbon, so why shouldn't we be able to do wonderful things with beer?
That's what brew duo Jay and Todd thought behind the concept of Paducah Beer Works.
I was looking for something to do because after moving here to help my family, there was really nothing I used my degree in. I started looking at what I liked to do, what I wanted to do, and what the possibilities were here in Paducah. I've traveled all over the United States, I've been to Europe, and that's one of the things I really enjoy is looking at new breweries, finding new things. I thought Paducah could really use that, it would help. We have repurposed an old Greyhound bus station that was just sitting here and going to waste.
And it's no longer a waste. After opening in March 2015, the community welcomed the brewery with open arms. And Jay and Todd both like to return that appreciation.
We do pride ourselves on being a part of the community, on the emphasis of Paducah in the beer works. When people come in, we offer them the chance to come back and take a look at the brewery, the process itself.
What's the process like? Well, it's not what you'd first imagine.
Basically, you clean all the time.
The prep and the cleanup are generally the most important parts as far as making sure everything's ready. It makes for a smooth transition into the brew.
Brewing is just a little part of it, and you constantly clean.
Typically, most of our ales take roughly 13 days to 3 weeks since they are ales and we're not actually racking them off like a lager.
Their focus on a quality beer over quantity has shown, with recognition not only in the community, but nationally and internationally at the Great American Beer Festival.
We just received a bronze medal for our English style pale ale.
Our pale ale is a classic English style, very hop forward, citrusy right up front, clean throughout. The back end actually tapers off so you don't have the hops on that. Fairly clean finish.
We competed with 3,600 beers from all over. We had 15 countries represented. It was actually quite unexpected, but we were happy that we did very well.
Our recent win at the Great American Beer Festival gave the opportunity for people who were passing through, say from Nashville to Chicago is one we tend to see quite a bit, or to St. Louis. They found out about us, they said, we're going right by there, so let's check out Paducah.
But plans to expand are not necessarily in the future. They're more concerned about perfecting the art of their locally craft brews.
I don't want to get too big too fast. Of course, after you win a medal, you've got people contacting you saying, hey, we loved your beer, can we get it? I would love to be able to do that, but at this point in time, I'm just not able to. We focus on quality and taste, and it has shown, and we hope to continue to do that for years to come. You know, eventually I'll get there and be able to give it to as many people as I can, but we're gonna stay small and grow as needed.
Let's find out what's the local buzz for Paducah Beer Works.
So far, we've gotten really great feedback. Everybody enjoys the beer, they enjoy the atmosphere.
The atmosphere is awesome, the food is awesome.
We tend to see a diverse crowd coming through, from locals who have never tried craft beer before to tourists.
The second week they opened, I finally came down, finally had the time to get off work and whatnot, and I've been coming ever since.
All the beers that Todd brews are absolutely awesome.
I hate IPAs, but this one's good.
The apricot sour, it kind of tastes like sour candy. It's also one of my favorites. It's really good.
Like, it's really, really good.
I enjoyed it. I also really enjoy beer, so it helps.
One of the things that we're most proud of here is that from grain to glass, we're building a better beer.
A few beers, some sweet wine, and some homegrown moonshine. Now that's what I call a productive buzz crawl. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today, but join us next week as the neighboring state is stirring quite the local buzz. I'm Paige Hoffmeister. Bottoms up.